Way here and welcome back to another video. The last challenge trying to beat Pokemon Blue with only a Squirtle was actually pretty fun and interesting, so be sure to check that out if you're interested. We just hit 2,000 subs and now we're on the road to 3,000, so be sure to like and subscribe for future challenges such as these. But now in today's video, I was trying to beat Pokemon Black and White 2 with only a Tepig. Now I didn't want to rush right into this challenge after the Pokemon Black because I feel it wouldn't be interesting, which is why I did the Squirtle run, but now I think it's time I give it a try. Just like in the Solo Black run though, we'll be trying to get Adamant Nature as it boosts base attacks with a decrease with special attack. Also like the Black run, Tepig has all the same base stats, moves, abilities, but for those who haven't seen that video, the most important moves will most likely be Ember and Flame Charge for the early game, and Roll Out, Flamethrower, and Flare Blitz for more late game. As for TM moves, the most used will most likely be Return, Double Team, Fire Blast, Grass Knot, and maybe Sunny Day, but we'll see. According to the challenge rules though, I can only use Tepig on battle, I can use Pokemon for HM moves. Number 2, I can use any items in battle, however I can use held items such as berries or the Quick Claw to assist me. And lastly, number 3, I can't use any hacks or glitches, and I wish I could use Speed Up for this because, that is allowed, but I don't have it, so we're just gonna have to work with what we got. But now that the challenge rules are out of the way, let's go ahead and start this challenge. So we start the run by meeting up with Bianca to where she gives us the option to choose our starter, which we obviously choose Tepig, But we name him Piggy Wiggy and then I checked the nature, and surprisingly I got Adamant Nature, which made me really happy because the last run it took 7 hours of restarted attempts to actually get this, which is crazy. But anyway, before we can leave, we're forced to have a battle against our rival. Nothing too crazy in this fight, just like all the other first fights against our rival. He does what goes down with just a few tackles for an easy win. Not long after this, we make our way to this ranch where we have another battle against our rival. He still only has his Oshawott, except it's level 8 now, but just like before, he doesn't pose much of a threat, and after a few hits from Tackle and some amazement that he doesn't go for Water or Gun, we take it out with about half health left to spare. After practicing with the past Unova champion Alder, we head back to the trainer school, which turns out to be the gym where Charon is, the normal type gym leader. He has 2 Pokemon, being a level 11 Patrat and a level 13 Lillipup. They shouldn't be very hard to beat as they don't have any super effective things against me. My only concern is that if they spam work up until they're able to get me one shot, but hopefully that doesn't happen and we can win easily. But let's see how it goes. Alright, so Patrat's out first, and after a few hits from Tackle, I forced Charon to heal up with a potion, but after taking little damage from Tackle, we continue to spam with Tackle until Patrat goes down. Lastly is Lillipup, who uses Workout first and then proceeds to drop me to 2 HP before I can finish it off with a few tackles for the win. So yeah, my only concern almost made me lose against Charon, which is crazy to think about, but the fight's over and we won, so let's just move on to the next gym, which is in Burbank City. Now Roxy has 2 Pokemon, being level 16 Coughing and level 18 Whirlipede. Now Coughing has a 70% chance to land Smog and a 40% chance to poison us if that does happen. But besides being poisoned, it doesn't look like it can do any serious damage to us. I think we'll be okay. As for Whirlipede, we should be super effective against it due to the fact that it's also part bug type, but I think it should be able to take it out with Flame Charge or 2. Protect may be the only annoying thing it can use, and I know this from the previous Tepig run, but let's see how it goes. Our Coughing hits us a few times with a Syringe for a little damage, and I bring it down low with Return and Flame Charge until Roxy heals with a Super Potion. We keep trading as Syringes and Returns until eventually Coughing goes down and leaves me on half health for Whirlipede. As I thought, that we went for Protect on the first turn, but that doesn't really matter because on the next turn I'm able to one-shot the Whirlipede with a single Flame Charge, which wins me the fight against Roxy. It's surprisingly Coughing just stuck to a Syringe without trying to poison me, and Whirlipede just went down as fast as I expected, so yeah, a nice little comfort win for me. Alright, so the next gym coming up is in Castelia City against the bug user Berg, and he has 3 Pokemon, being a level 22 Swadloon, a level 22 Dwebble, and a level 24 Lavani. Now being that it's a bug gym means that it will be easy since we're super effective against all of his Pokemon. Now the only real one that can do some damage is Dwebble with Smackdown, and even then I think we should be able to take it out with a few hits from Rollout, but let's see. Alright, so first out is Swadloon, who is easily one-shotted with the Flame Charge. Next out is Dwebble, and he takes a few hits from Flame Charge and Rollout until he goes down. But he does manage to explode, but he does manage to outspeed me and hit me once with Smackdown for almost half of my health. But last out is Lavani, who survives a rollout and uses String Shot on us, which Tepig is unfazed by, and I use one more rollout to finish it off to win me the 3rd badge of this run. There's not much to say. I mean, I knew it would be an easy fight anyway, but let's move on to Route 4 where we have the fight against Colwis for the 4th time. The fight with him wasn't really hard since both of his Pokemon were Steel type, so I'm super effective against him. The only real challenge was Magnemite because it paralyzed me and then also healed up. Plus it has the ability Sturdy, so it takes 2 hits to take it out. But Clink was an easy one-shot with Flame Charge, so that's good. The next gym is in the Bossa City against the electric user Elisa, and I won't lie, I tried this fight a few times and still I just can't win this. All three of her Pokemon know Volt Switch, and Amoga always outspeeds me and uses it and takes almost half of my health just from one hit. And then Flap, I can outspeed it, but Return only does half damage to it before it uses Volt Switch, and the process repeats until I just faint. I think the only thing I can do here is grind up a few levels and hope to outspeed the Amoga, as well as try not to get paralyzed. Alright, so I tried this fight many times after grinding, but just nothing was good enough. I mean, I tried at level 36, level 38, and level 40, and I just couldn't win. Like, I just kept losing to being outsped by both the Amoga and Zebstrika, and they would just immediately take me out. After about an hour and a half of total grinding, I try again at level 41, and this time I'm actually able to outspeed the Amoga and get it to the red with Return. It uses Volt Switch and swaps out with Flaffy, which I also get to the red with Return before it swaps with Amoga. Elisa heals with Hyper Potions, and I use Return twice till it finally goes down. Fluffy comes back out and I finish it off with a Return, and then Zebstrika comes out and I get it under half health before it drops me to 13 HP with Return. I then use one final Return and finish it off to finally win me the fight against Elisa. Yeah, this did take quite some time, and just like the Pokemon Black run, I'm just happy to be able to move on. However, I am worried about the ground gym coming up as I'm at a disadvantage, but we'll handle that when we get there. And yeah, by later, I mean right now. Clay has 3 Pokemon, being a level 31 Krokorok, a level 31 Sandslash, and a level 33 Excadrill. Now they all have Bulldoze, and Excadrill also has Rock Sled, so yeah, they're all super effective against me. But they shouldn't be that hard to beat. I mean, Flare Blitz is super effective against Excadrill, and it stays the same damage against Krokorok and Sled and Slash, so hopefully this doesn't take too many attempts to beat. But, you know, let's see. And this takes a few tries to beat because of, you know, super effectiveness, but I also forget that I don't get Flare Blitz until I level up, so this whole fight I just use Return and Flamethrower. But anyway, after a good amount of attempts, I get a lucky run to where I was able to one-shot Krokorok with a Flamethrower, one-shot Excadrill with Flamethrower, and then after getting dropped to 10 HP, I was able to spam Flamethrower to eventually take Sandslash down to win me the fight against Clay. We have a few random battles up ahead, such as the fight against a rival in the battle studio type thing, and we saw a fight against Charon, which was kind of funny to see, but you know, they weren't really hard anyway, and they just Return and Flamethrower on his Pokemon until they eventually went down. And then Charon was even easier as I was able to spam the overpowered Flare Blitz to just one-shot all of them. Alright, so up next is the Flying Gym, and this shouldn't be too hard. I mean, I should be able to just spam Flare Blitz on all of them, especially Skarmory, as it's a Steel type, which means that it would be super effective. But if anything, I can just switch to Rolla against Swanna if Flare Blitz isn't good enough, since it's also a Water type, but let's see. Alright, so I lost a good amount of times, and the main reason I gathered from this was because I couldn't outspeed the Swoop Bat, which means it would also do damage to me before I can hit it, which means if I do manage to take it out, I'm too low for Swanna, and lose the bubble. What got really annoying is that Swoop Bat also went using Attract and then Heart Stem, which actually made me flinch 3 consecutive times in a row, and then I eventually go down. I decided to go on a grinding spree until I got to level 55 and tried this fight again. It did take a few tries, but eventually I got this run where I flinched the Heart Stem once, but then I used Return and was able to take the Swoop Bat out in a one-shot. Next is Swanna, who survived the Return in the yellow and used Bubble Beam to drop me to 25 HP before I used one more Return to take it out. Last out is Skarmory, who has Sturdy, so I go for an ineffective Return to avoid the problem, and luckily he goes for Agility. The next turn he outspeeds me and hits me with Steel Wing, which drops me to 9 HP before I use a super effective Flamethrower to take it out, winning me the battle against Skyla. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this grinding portion sucked, but luckily I was able to get the lucky egg from Professor Juniper, so that sped up the process just by a little bit. Also didn't know that you can get leftovers early in the game, but apparently you can get them near in Castelia City, so you know, that's nice to know. Before living on Dilla Town, we have a fight against our rival, and this did take me 3 attempts to beat, and basically why I lost here was because I would get Samurai in the healing range and they wouldn't have enough health to take him back down low and then take him out, so he would take me out. That didn't make any sense now that I'm saying it, but basically, I don't have enough health to take him out. But I decided to try and use the rollout strategy and hope it would do enough damage to lessen the amount of time it takes to take out Samurai. And I took out the Ampheasant with 2 rollouts, and it went for Razor Wind, so I never took damage. Next I had a Samurai, and he hits me for almost half health with Aqua Jet, while I take him a little over half health with Rollout. But for some reason he decided not to go for Aqua Jet, and I was able to go first and land 1 rollout to take it out. Lastly a Simmons Hedge, and he just fell to a rollout, winning me the fight against our rival. Up ahead I run into Cabalian and took a little bit of time to catch it just for fun, but a little after that we fight with our rival against Zinzon. I use Flamethrower against Kraganol and it does less than half health, and then we both get hit by Air Cutter, but our rival uses Revenge to take out the Kraganol. Sneasel comes out and I obliterate it with Flare Blitz, and then me and Samurai use the power of Friendship and take out the Golbat together. Last out is Garbodor and I use 1 Flare Blitz to take it out, winning me the fight against Zinzon. A little up ahead we catch Verizon for fun as well. Alright, so next is the Dragon Gym, and he has 3 Pokemon, being a level 46 Druddigon, a level 46 Flygon, and a level 48 Haxorus. And all 3 of these Pokemon are strong. My main concern here is that Flygon is because it's part ground type, which means rollout won't be as strong against it, and fire type moves don't work against any of them. Flygon's Earth Power and Rock Slide are looking pretty scary, so I'm not fully sure what to expect, but let's see how this goes. RCA, this isn't happening. So I'm able to get past the Druddigon most of the time and the Flygon sometimes, but the problem is that due to Flygon always using Earth Power, which is super effective against me, I'm always too low and I get finished off by Haxorus Dragon Tail. I decided that it's time to grind. Alright, so I come back at level 72 and I'm doing better than before, but it seems like I'm not doing enough damage. I use the 2 rare candies that I have and I try again. So Druddigon took 4 hits to go down because now I knock it out into the healing range. So it's worse than before grinding, but once it goes down, Flygon comes out, which luckily gets one-shotted by rollout, so I don't take any damage from Earth Power. Last out is Haxorus, who I use Return against to get it into the yellow, and he heals up little with Citrus Berry. He goes for Dragon Tail, but luckily misses, and Return is able to finish it off and finally winning me the fight against Drayden. I don't like grinding, especially for DS games. Like, this is where I don't have any speed up, so it takes even longer. But at least I was able to beat him, so you know, that's good. I'm just very concerned for the water gym because it definitely will be hard. What wasn't so hard though was this fight against Zinzalon. Just like before, all he has is 2 Cryogonal and a Weevil, and we just easily one-tap all of them with for an easy win once again. I also fight one of the Shadow Triad members right after, but again, they weren't hard either. Flare is just such a strong and hard-hitting move and easily one-shots all 3 of their Pokemon. Alright, so now it's time for the water gym, and I did lose my first attempt by getting one-shotted by Scald, but on the next attempt I was able to set up all 3 of my rollers to take out Karagosta. But he leaves me at 5 HP to fight the other 2. Warlord comes out and gets luckily taken out by a Rolo, and then lastly is Jellicent, who also went down to a Rolo to secure me the final gym badge. Yeah, I'm surprised I actually won this one this fast without having to grind, and it's crazy to think about how the water gym was easier than the flying gym. I mean, how does that even make sense, man? Like, well, anyway, I'm not complaining, but next up we do team up with our rival to fight Zinzalon once again, and a random team Plasma Grunt, and I take out Zinzalon's Cryogonal with a Flare Blitz, and then Samurott takes out Liper with an Aqua Tail. Once again, I take out the next Cryogonal with a Flare Blitz, and Samurott takes out the Watchog with an Aqua Tail. Lastly, I got dropped to 37 HP before taking the Weevil out with the Flamethrower. Me and my rival then both tag team Scolipede and take it out for another not so hard victory. A little further on the Team Plasma ship, we have our final battle against Zinzalon, and I didn't have to go much into detail with this because it's the same as before, you know, just using Flare Blitz so many times to wipe out his whole team for the easy win. Alright, so we have our final battle against Colress, and I did take a few attempts to beat because he was able to paralyze us, and then we would always be slower than the opposing Pokemon, and the fact that a good amount of his Pokemon have the ability Sturdy, so yeah, I can even one-shot them. So I'm over here taking around 2 to 3 hits per Pokemon, and yeah, that's why I kept losing. I looked and seen that I had a Cherry Berry or whatever it's called, which heals paralysis, and I give it to Tepig and then fight against Colress again, and this became super easy. I was able to take out his Pokemon with a few Flamethrowers and Flare Blitzes without ever getting dropped to half health. And to be honest, aside from getting paralyzed, this fight was really easy due to all of his Pokemon being Steel type as well, so that kind of worked out in our favor. What didn't work out in our favor though was this fight against Getasis, and I'm not even going to explain each of these attempts very detailed. But for the most important parts, anyway, the first attempt, I'm gonna just say that Cofagrigus sucks a lot, man. He just bams Protect so many times, and he poisons me. So when I do manage to take it out, I get dropped to 6 HP after using Flare Blitz against Seismitoad. And it didn't even take it out, and it finishes me off. Attempt number 2, I take out the Cofagrigus with a single Flare Blitz, and manage to get past Seismitoad as well after tanking an Earthquake at 74 HP. Drapion is next, and Flamethrower doesn't take it out, and it has Earthquake as well, and takes us out. Attempt number 3, I use Flare Blitz instead and take it out the Drapion, but out comes Hydreigon, and Return only does about half health, and yep, Rock Slide takes us out. Finally though, in attempt number 4, I give Tepig the Metronome, so I decide to spam Return so that by the time I get the Hydreigon, it would be able to one-shot it, as Metronome increases that move's damage each time it's used, and sure enough, this works. I one-shot Cofagrigus with Flare Blitz and get knocked low from Seismitoad, but from there the power of Return kicks in and it begins to annihilate Getasis' entire team in one shot for the victory. The Metronome may not have helped against Red, but it definitely worked against Getasis. After Getasis though, we traveled toward Victory Road, and once we get a few steps away from the Pokemon League, we're stopped for one last fight against our rival. This did take a few attempts as well, and what I was confused about is why I'm taking so much damage from being confused, man. I mean, like, since when does getting hit by our own confusion do half damage to us, bruh? Anyway, I tried a few different strategies such as spamming with Flare Blitz, which does work, but it's not enough to take out the Sim Rot, so I finally decided to use 3 of the rare candies that I had, and then use the Metronome and return strategy once again, and sure enough, this actually worked. I do take quite a lot of damage from Buff Flaw and getting hit with Confusion, but from there I was able to sweep the rest of the rival's team for the win, and prove that we are, in fact, ready and worthy to take on the Elite Four. Before this though, I go around the map and get all the rare candies that I can get from this point in the game, and at level 97, I challenge Grimsy. Now normally I would say and talk each of the Elite Four step by step, but in this case I really don't need to. I mean, Grimsy, Marshall, and Caitlyn all fall to me just from spamming Flare Blitz and using leftovers to get some health back. And yeah, that was the simple strategy. And when you really think about it, this is the easiest the Elite Four has ever been out of any of my past runs so far. The fight against Chantel is the only one that's different, as because of Jellicent and Chandelure at the end, and I can't use Flare Blitz on them or return for, obvious reasons being ghost types. So, I just use return. The first attempt I lose to Golurk, taking us out from rollout not doing enough damage, but I give the Metronome to Tepig and place of the leftovers, and try the rollout strategy again, and this actually worked, and I was able to sweep her whole team just with rollout, which wins me the fight against the final Elite Four member. Alright, so now we have the final and most important fight of the game, the battle against the Dragon Master Iris, the champion. Alright, so I don't want to be talking about this battle all day, so I'll just sum it up. The first few attempts of this, I was able to take out the Hydra Gun with 2 returns and Outground with the Flamethrower and Flare Blitz. But the brick wall was Hackris, who I was able to do half health with return, but after it uses Dragon Dance, and it's able to boost its speed and outspeed me, and always takes me out with the super effective Earthquake. So the next few attempts I try a few different things, such as using the Metronome to boost Return's power, but it does nothing against Aggron, and that, doesn't work. I then try using the normal gem, which boosts the power of Return one time, which is able to one-shot the Hydra Gun, and surprisingly Flamethrower can one-tap Aggron. And I'm even able to survive Earthquake and take the Hacktress out, but then I get the Lapras, and yeah, I die. I try a few more attempts, but still the same results, so I decided to grind the Elite Four until I get to level 100 so that I would get all my EVs, or IVs, or whatever they're called. And I also went to Driftfield City and got the move for Double Team after getting 5 battle points to help us beat her. Also teach Tepig Rot Smash, since it's the only move I have that is super effective against most of her Pokemon and none of them resist it. Now I do lose a few times in this strategy, but basically the strat was to take out Hydra Gun with 2 Rock Smashes and then spam Double Team on Aggron, since he usually never attacks us until we attack him, and hopefully from there we can force our way through the rest of her team. But I did lose a few attempts like I said, but finally I got lucky. Hydra Gun goes down to 2 Rock Smashes, and then I managed to set up all my Double Teams on Aggron without being hit once and take it out with Rock Smash 2 times. Then Hacktress does manage to hit us once and drops us to 25 HP, but we take it out with Rock Smash. Rabbids comes out and we manage to dodge Surf and take it out with 2 Rock Smashes. Jardigan is next and we manage to dodge Rock Slide and take it out with 2 Rock Smashes as well. Last out is Argyups and we get super lucky and don't get hit, and we take it out with a few Rock Smashes as well for the win against the champion. Now this challenge was pretty difficult, but it wasn't as bad as some of the other runs, and to be honest, I'm surprised that I actually relied on Rock Smash. Like, I have never done that before. But the final time for this run was around 21 hours, so around 3 hours less than the Pokemon Black run. But I did have fun with this run, and I mean, aside from having to grind and, strategize a lot of these fights, it wasn't that bad, especially the Elite Four. And I mean, wow, they were absolutely a joke. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. In the next video, I'll be trying to beat Pokemon Silver with only Totodile, which brings us to the end of the Fire starters onto the Water starters, which I'm excited about. But real quick, I want to leave you guys off with a little Bible quote of the day, and it's Matthew 6:25. This is why I tell you not to worry about everyday life, whether it's food and drink or enough clothes to wear. Isn't life more than food and your body more than clothing? And what this basically means is that you shouldn't worry and stress about everything that happens in your life, and instead put your faith and trust in God, as He will watch over you and protect you and provide for you for such as things that you need, such as food and water. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.